Is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on! Things are percolating in the Bay. Stuff is happening right now. It's raining. Warriors and shambles and Eric Armstead. See you later. There's a lot happening right now in Bay Area sports. In the rain, of course it came back. I egged it on last week. Sam knew it. I was playing with fire. And the rain returned. I was like, we're done, right? Yeah, please. 2 a.m, I just hear it pouring out in Oakland. I was like, great. Hopefully it's not pouring. I'm scootering in. It was not, but still, be safe out there. There was an accident right after you get off the Bay Bridge, so I'm assuming things are going to be backed up a little bit there. So please, be safe. If you're on the bridge, if you're just getting off work and ready for work and ready for school, just don't be riding anyone. Don't be on there. Don't tailgate anything. Just be smart out there, people. Be smart. And we got the smartest listeners. I know that. I know that from the Comcast Business text line at 888-957-9570 when you guys ask me every single question every single day. Spadoni, is this a championship team still with the Golden State Warriors? We'll get into them because I did say last week prior to the Steph ankle turn against the Chicago Bulls when they got that huge win over the Milwaukee Bucks, I think this team can make a championship run. I think they can get out of the Western Conference. Well, without a healthy Steph Curry, probably not. Probably I can just remove. They're not going to. But it wasn't too serious. We'll wait and see. He's going to be out tonight against the San Antonio Spurs, the team you just lost to on Saturday at home without Steph. 126-113 the final there. And that was just embarrassing. I mean, we have to question the effort of some of these guys in what are crucial games. Each and every one of these games matter for the Warriors. Every single one of them from here on out. What is it now, Sammy? 20 games left now? Something like that? You have got to be kidding me. We are talking about effort on a Monday morning. It's embarrassing. Spurs didn't have the zombie, the alien, whatever the hell you want to call him, the unicorn, Victor Wembanyama. You didn't even play. You got your ass kicked by Zach Collins? Keldon Johnson? Who? Jeremy Sochan? I actually kind of like him. But come on. Come on. I need more out of Andrew freaking Wiggins. 5 of 12, 26 minutes, coming off the bench. That's not 11 points. Really? Jonathan Kuminga got going, but it was a little too late in the fourth quarter. 10 of 17, 26 points. And I'm not going to put everything on Jonathan Kuminga when Steph's out. That's not fair to him. He did show up, but no one else did. Klay Thompson, 27 points. Okay. He showed up, again, off the bench. The rookie, Trace Jackson Davis, another guy showed up. But I'm looking at Andrew Wiggins, the guys that got heavy minutes, and Moses Moody, 2 of 11, not going to cut it. You want to stick in this rotation? Got to be better than that, especially without Stephen Curry. Now, for the most part, Moses has played well when his name has been called upon, and he's going to continue to need to do that for this team with Stephen Curry out. But a very disappointing loss. Brandon Podziemski did not have his greatest game from the field. 7 assists, okay, but 8 points. They needed scoring, and they just were not getting it. Chris Paul, 10 points. Someone needed to step up outside of Kuminga and Klay, and it didn't happen. It did not happen as the Warriors fall to 33-30. Again, they take on the San Antonio Spurs tonight in San Antonio. Our coverage of that starts at 4 o'clock with Warriors Live. And the voice of the Golden State Warriors, Tim Roy, will be on the call starting at 5 o'clock. Again, right here on 95.7 The Game, your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. Good morning to all you lovely people. It is the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. And we got a lot to talk about today because you know why? I'm so excited. Legal tampering officially begins at 9 o'clock in the NFL. Free agency, Wednesday. And we already got things happening, man. Russell Wilson. He is a Pittsburgh Steelers. Broncos ate all that money this year. What is like an $85 million dead cap hit? They're like, yeah, we're still good off you, Russ. Yeah, we'll pay $85 million for you not to be in the building. So Russell Wilson is a Pittsburgh Steeler after visiting with the New York Giants. Goes to Pittsburgh and they do not let him leave the building. What does that mean for Pittsburgh? Well, means what it always means for Pittsburgh. They're going to be a 10-7, 9-8 team and either be a playoff team or just miss out. They're not winning a Super Bowl. It is an upgrade over Kenny Pickett, but this notion that they've all of a sudden vaulted into the upper echelon in the AFC, it's laughable. Not even close, to be honest. I mean, look at the quarterback play there. He would have been better off going to the NFC if he really wanted to make some noise. But what NFC team would have been taking him? Atlanta? They're done, I think, with older quarterbacks. They need to go young. I think they're going to go with some of these guys in the draft. Russell Wilson's 36 years old. 36. So it kind of fell into Pittsburgh Steelers' lap. They needed to get someone that's an improvement over Kenny Pickett. And I guess Russell Wilson is that. I mean, if you look at his numbers last year, as I pull them up right now, and you can let me know what you think of the move, 888-957-9570, kind of the big dominoes to fall here early on. Russell Wilson going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you just look at his stats. You can go back to last year. 26 touchdowns, 8 picks. You look at that and his 66.4 completion percentage, like, oh, not bad. Pretty good. But if you watch the games, I was like, this guy, unless he has an elite running game and defense, he's kind of like what he had in Seattle. This guy's not winning. It's just not. Now, what do Steelers have? An elite defense. Running game-wise, I like Najee, local guy. Kind of hasn't really lived up to the hype, going to be honest. Now, is that the offensive line not helping him out? It's a lot of things. But you know what? Got to be better. Who's the other back at Warren, who got a lot of number one touches this year too? Listen, he's an improvement over Kenny Pickett at the end of the day, so I think that's all Pittsburgh Steelers fans care about. I just question, what kind of future Russell Wilson's going to have on a team that's really predicated on there being a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl in a division where you have Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Oh, and Deshaun Watson, who he can only get better. He was not very good last year, but injuries, we'll see. So, very tough division. Russell Wilson leaves a tough one for potentially even a tougher one from the AFC West to the AFC North. Good morning to all you lovely people on the pregame show. Jay DeGray, El Guero, MVP JB. Appreciate y'all chiming in at this hour of the day. 5:09 a.m. here. Yes, 510. Spadoni, you relieved that Russ did not land with the Raiders. Very much so. It never really seemed like a fit anyways. For being honest, the culture that Antonio Pierce is trying to bring in, I don't think Raider Nation Let's Ride, I don't think that was going to fly. I just don't. Can you imagine Russell Wilson doing a Raiders chant? I cringe at the thought. I don't think Max Crosby and co. would be looking at him as their fearless leader going forward. Not saying Aiden O'Connell is, but I kind of like Aiden O'Connell's more of just not saying anything and just being nothing phases him approach. More so than the Broncos country Let's Ride. For the love of God. Eric Armstead, as we pivot away from Russell Wilson. Eric Armstead in the 49ers. Longtime defensive tackle. the pride of Sacramento, California, Oregon University of Oregon, whatever. Him and the Niners could not come to an agreement on a restructured contract. So Eric Armstead is going to elect free agency, and he's gone. And he was a very good 49er. Eric Armstead was a very good 49er. And I think at the end of the day, that's all you can say about someone. They're going to miss him. But for the amount of money that he is making, and him being a defensive tackle, if you're not named Chris Jones or Aaron Donald, that's tough for me. Very tough. He's been making, if you just look at his cap hits, $28 million. Prior to that, it was 11. It was getting to be a little too much, too rich for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and co. So you know what? Maybe they'll address it in either free agency or what I would expect, the draft. And stop me if you heard this before, the 49ers targeting a defensive tackle with their first round pick. It's a tradition unlike any other. Speaking of the Masters, coming up soon. A little twinkling of the piano. Guess me every time. What are they going to do with Javon Hargrave? Are they going to keep him? I mean, you'd think so, right? After signing a one-year deal, but even Hargrave, a little underwhelming this year. Got to be honest. For as great as his 49ers season was at times, and it was great, and the defensive line showed up in that Super Bowl. Eric Armstead showed up in that Super Bowl. Nick Bosa showed up in that Super Bowl. He also showed up at UFC. UFC, what was it? Bajillion and 4. I never remember the freaking number. He was hanging out with the former president of the United States, DT. Very happy to see him, too. Like they're boys, him and Joe Burrow. They're all hanging out, having a grand old time. And I'm not going any further, don't worry. Just the comments regarding that and the memes were just, thank you, Jabba. He might have been, you know what? Jabba the Hutt actually might have been there. That seems like he would be hanging out at the UFC events with Max Crosby. I mean, they do play at the Death Star, Sammy.
Nick Bosa probably would have enjoyed it just the same.
We're having fun here on the pregame show. So Eric Armstead, how are we feeling about that, 49ers fans? Moving on. 30 years old. He's going to test the market. You think the 49ers made a mistake moving on from Eric Armstead, or do they need to revamp things? The Brock Purdy contract is on the horizon. Potentially. You ask some people, Bonte Hill, Joe Shasky, they're not convinced that if Brock has a down year that the 49ers are going to pay him buku dollars. I, on the other hand, think they're going to next season pay him a crap load of money. Is that the right move? Well, we'll see. He's only played well as a starter for the 49ers. And if he continues to play well, he's going to get paid. But that means having some hard truths with some of your players. And as we know from Stannis of the House Baratheon, hard truths cut both ways. Shout out Sir Davos. And one of those hard truths was Eric Armstead. Now, according to Adam Kaplan of Pro Football Network, another name could be on the chopping block for the 49ers this time around. Kyle Juszczyk potentially could be either a restructure or outright getting cut here. So 49ers trying to revamp and reshape things after a Super Bowl loss, and they need to. At the end of the day, you lost the Super Bowl. Something's got to change, right? Something. It's not going to be the quarterback. It's not going to be the head coach. Steve Wilkes, he's gone. Bring in Nick Sorensen. Elevate him. Bring in Brandon Staley. Speaking of Brandon Staley as an assistant coach now with the 49ers, little rumblings that Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack could be on the move. Will they just get outright released? Is a trade going to be in the works? Now, I'd much rather have Khalil Mack than Joey Bosa if we're just going off injury concerns. Now, it would be cool to have the Bosa bros together. I don't deny that. But Joey, good God, feels like he's missing games left and right every single year. Every single year I'm seeing Joey Bosa, oh, he's out, big game. So it just leaves Khalil Mack and he gets double teamed. If If he's not going against Aiden O'Connell, getting 6 sacks against him, he's not really doing much out there. Although he did have a good season last year. Future Hall of Famer. Again, give me Khalil Mack if I'm the 49ers. Find a way to make that happen. And if you remember, when Gruden took over again for his second stint with the Raiders some years back now, he was looking to trade Khalil Mack, and the 49ers offered a better deal. Better, quote unquote, than the Chicago Bears. But he wasn't trading him in market. He was not doing that. And to be honest, I'm calling it a wash of a trade anyways if we're going back to that trade. The Raiders and the Bears. Raiders got Josh Jacobs, who I think they're going to re-sign. He's been an all-pro. I think they got the best play out of Khalil Mack in his entire career when he won DPOY and was first team all-pro at 2 different positions at linebacker and defensive end. Just crazy still. So, legal tampering, if you're just joining us on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni in the NFL, begins 12 o'clock Eastern time, so 9 o'clock Pacific. And if you're unaware what legal tampering is, it kind of sounds like an oxymoron. It kind of is. Like tampering by itself feels like it should be illegal, but they're calling it legal tampering. Whatever. Nonetheless, as Ray Ratto used to say, nevertheless, more to the point, the NFL free agency period basically begins at 9 o'clock because you're going to hear everything before it, gets solidified. All the leaks, and you're starting to see some of them now. All the leaks are going to start coming out. It's like, report so-and-so expected to sign. That's what you're going to start seeing in the next couple of hours or so in regards to NFL trades, releases, what have you. But it really is like Christmas for some of these teams with huge cap spaces. And even teams that don't. You're going to see the Kansas City Chiefs make some big deals. They just got Chris Jones, but hey, L'Jarius Sneed's on the market. Who's going to trade for him? First team All-Pro. Had a very good Super Bowl. Just ask Niner fans. Ask Brandon Ayuk. Ask Deebo Samuel. Ask all these guys. L'Jarius Sneed, damn good player. Hell, ask Zay Flowers, right? So a lot of guys you expected not to be available could be, and vice versa. And there's some big names out there. So Derrick Henry, what's going to happen to them? I mentioned Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, the running back market. What's going on there? I mean, again, Christian McCaffrey, having that guy in the season he just had the offensive player of the year, and his contract that he has right now feels like a steal still. It really does. You see all those, think about the running backs I just named. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. Who's another one out there? I'm missing some. Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift. This is the cream of the crop for the running back position, and they're all free agents. And the best of the best in Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers have him. So if you're a Niner fan and you're still worried, we just cut Armstead, I'm not sure about it. Maybe Kyle Juszczyk. You got your quarterback. You got your running back. You got the studs everywhere else. The 49ers are loaded at the positions that matter most. Now it's about shoring up the weak spots. Right tackle. What's going on with McKivitz? Are you going to re-sign him? Okay. We sure? It felt like late in that Super Bowl. I know. I'm going back to the Super Bowl because it's the last game in my mind, people. I understand. You can't have a one-game sample size dictate your future. I get all that. But at the same time, it's pretty damn hard not to look at that Super Bowl and look at the weak spots and say, ugh, even Trent Williams didn't have his greatest game. And that's disappointing. He's your left tackle. He's a future Hall of Famer, but I'm not looking at Trent Williams in his totality here at the 49ers and saying, I'm moving off that guy. Hell to the no. He is still one of, if the not best, in the NFL. But right tackle and, guard position, I like Banks, I like Burford. I like those guys. I want depth. Feliciano, he's gone. I don't want any parts of that guy returning. Not with his social media going at players and what have you. I'm good off that. Throwing your teammates under the bus after a Super Bowl, it's clown behavior in the highest degree. From the YouTube chat, and you could search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. We are streaming all day long, Monday through Friday, right here on 95.7 The Game. You can see this beautiful mug, and beautiful's in quotations, and face for radio. Most of us too. Actually, as radio stations go, I'm fine with my masculinity to say we got a pretty good looking lineup here. 95.7 The Game. Shasky Bonte. What's my guy at Myrtle Beach calling Bonte Belafonte? That always cracks me up. You got the California Casanova, Daryl the Guru Johnson, Steiny. But Steiny's just got to change the jacket, man. Steiner. He's been wearing that, I don't know if that's members only, Express for Men jacket that he's wearing. Wears it every single day. And I've been there. Trust me. Getting up this early, there's days where you just wear the same, like, trust me. Done with jeans, jackets, especially we're on YouTube now. Don't know, man. Don't know. But from the MVP, JP, Wiggins should have been traded already. You can't be trading him all. It can't. It's too late. Try to warn everyone. Should have struck while the iron was hot. Maybe it wasn't hot. But we know what we're going to get from Wiggins going forward. We just know what we're going to get. Maybe we'll get a good game tonight. Maybe. Or maybe we won't. And that's the Andrew Wiggins experience. KT, Armstead gets released. The Bosa. The Bosa election season's different. That's good. I'm not getting into politics, people. Just the memes were great. Nick Bosa meeting and saying what's up to our former president, Donald Trump, who is once again in the running for president of the United States, and he was so happy. And Joe Burrow at the UFC match. It's funny. 510. Isaac. I was surprised at the Armstead news. Ayuk, the next one to bounce? No. Why would they move off Brandon Ayuk? What, like, give me a legitimate reason why they should move off of Brandon Ayuk. Oh, he scrubbed the social media. Oh, his family members had this to say. No. Brandon Ayuk was second team All-Pro. You know what All-Pro means? Best at his position. He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL this year. Deebo Samuel? No. He's what gives that 49ers a different element on offense. George Kittle? Maybe I have conversations about that one, which I know could be a hot take for some. George Kittle, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Can't move off of that guy, Spadoni. You smoking crack? No. Drinking Earl Grey tea, actually, with some honey. It's very good. Allergy season. Try to get that local honey in you, Sam. Get that pollen in. Digest some of that. Build up an immunity to it. Got some local honey at home. I'm going with the Smucker's honey packets here, but they're doing the job. By the way, allergy season. If for any of you that wear contacts like I do, I don't have a backup pair of glasses. I need to get some. But contacts during seasonal allergy season, which I know just sounded redundant, but seasonal allergies, it kills me. It does. It's like, imagine you're trapping all that dust and dirt when you put on these contacts and it's just trapped in your eye, and then your body just keeps reacting to it. The schnoz, the eyes, everything's just watering. It's a waterfall. That's what it feels like when you're an eye contact user during March, April, May, June, July, whatever. Whenever your allergies are hitting. It's tough, man. It's tough. Get that Nasacort. Get the nasal sprays. And yes, if you're on YouTube, the nose is real and it's spectacular. And no, I don't need double doses in each nostril. I've heard every joke. Don't worry. Every single one of them. I was built for this. From the, 415, I should say, on the Comcast Biz text line. We're talking NFL free agency approaching. Legal tampering period opens up in about 3.5 hours, 9 o'clock Pacific. That's when everything is going to start getting leaked here. What we know, Eric Armstead, see ya. Rumblings that potentially Kyle Juszczyk could be on the chopping block. We're going Ted Allen here on the Food Network. But from the 415, Javon Kinlaw, next man up. I don't know if I feel good about that. If I'm the 49ers, just going to keep it a buck. Javon Kinlaw's been underwhelming. He's been a disappointment. Not to the Solomon Thomas degree, because Solomon Thomas was a top 5 pick, but Javon Kinlaw has not been great, to put it bluntly. So do they swing again for defensive tackle? Listen, their defensive line draft selections, for keeping a buck. I mean, Eric Armstead was one of the best ones in recent memory outside of Nick Bosa. Right? I mean, Drake Jackson getting DNPs last year after having a 3-sack performance in the first week against Pittsburgh, and then night. It's embarrassing. I mean, Chris Kusurek, we love giving this guy praise. We do, and I get it. He's done wonders for this defensive line. But he had a plethora of talent, quote unquote, this past year. And Randy Gregory, right? Chase Young. Again, bringing Javon Hargrave. So they brought in a lot of outside help, which was kind of an indictment on the draft selections. Because you felt like you didn't need to go after these guys and you get the selections of a Kinlaw and a Drake Jackson, but their play has been so not up to standard for a first-round selection or a second-round pick that they had to go out. And now comes the hard part. Tough truths, hard truths. Got to cut some people. You can't keep everyone. It's the name of the game. I get it. The Chiefs are rifling with it right now. They paid Patrick Mahomes. Now they paid Chris Jones. They got their best offensive player and best defensive player paid. And you know what? That's probably going to be good enough for them. God, they're going for it. You hear it in my voice. The Chiefs are going to three-peat. They're going to. It is what it is. Has it ever been done? No. They're going to do it. I just know it. And I'm sick to my stomach over it. We're up against it. I'll try to get a barf bag over here ready. Be thinking about that. But in the meantime, 888-957-9570. Eric Armstead released. Your thoughts, 49er fans. And also the Golden State Warriors take on the San Antonio Spurs tonight. It's a gotta-have-it game for the Warriors. Wembanyama expected to play, which make things a little more difficult. But who needs to step up tonight for the Golden State Warriors after a very disappointing loss to the San Antonio Spurs on Saturday at home? 888-957-9570 is the number. And that's all coming up next on 95.7 The Game.
Here's to everyone who was made to shine. From Shane.
Welcome back. Pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. Looking at all the different headlines, all my different screens. You got FS1 on ESPN. You got NFL Network talking Russell Wilson. Smart move for the Steelers. For just joining us, legal tampering begins today in the NFL, 9 o'clock Pacific time. And you'll start hearing all the leaks and all the rumors and stuff as it pertains to teams cutting players, trading them, what have you. First big name to move pertaining to the quarterback position in the NFL is Russell Wilson. Obviously released from Denver. Probably one of the biggest busts of a contract you'll ever see was that Broncos contract to Russell Wilson. But Sean Payton, he's cleaning house. He's like, you know what? I'm getting my guys. We are having a fire sale. Jerry Jeudy, see ya. He gets traded to the Cleveland Browns over the weekend. So you got a couple former Alabama number ones there, and Amari Cooper, and now Jerry Jeudy, who was underwhelming. Obviously, Jerry Jeudy, the second quarterback taken in that draft class. Brandon Ayuk, what was he, the third or fourth? And obviously the first one was Henry Ruggs, who was out of the NFL and in prison for vehicular manslaughter. FS1, before it goes into the South Carolina versus LSU. And by the way, women's college basketball right now, and Fuego, we had South Carolina and LSU going at it in their title game. Angel Reese not getting involved. Good for her. See the headline saying she's not a good teammate? No, she's not getting involved because she doesn't want to get suspended. Smart. You see a big fight and you're a star player? Don't get involved. Because tourney time is coming up for the men's and women's side, and you do not need your best players missing time. And if I'm a gambler, double much so. Another headline I saw was, are you surprised that Justin Fields' market isn't high? No. This notion that Justin Fields somehow recouped all of his trade value this past year is laughable. Did we watch the same amount of games? Did we watch these Bears games with Justin Fields? And I get it. Luke Getsy, who's now the offensive coordinator in Las Vegas and who was the offensive coordinator last year with Chicago, not the greatest. And no, I'm not very excited at the prospect of him being my team's offensive coordinator, but is what it is. We'll see. But let's not act like Justin Fields was this second coming and the new greatest quarterback to come out of that draft class, which, by the way, Trey Lance traded, Mac Jones traded. We'll see you with Justin Fields. Zach Wilson, gone, you would assume, right? Trevor Lawrence might be the only guy. Dramatic pause there, by the way. Hashtag swirl. Trevor Lawrence might be the only guy. And even he, if he doesn't have a good season this year, Trevor Lawrence, you know what? I'm not sure if I extend him if I'm Doug Peterson and co. That's how stacked the AFC is in quarterbacks. You realize who you have to beat if you are in the AFC. And I'm just going to keep mentioning it because you know what? And I don't care if it's not fair. It's just reality. The only guy to beat Patrick Mahomes is Joe Burrow in the playoffs. And yes, Tom Brady. But he's out. The only current quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs is Joe Burrow. Think about that for a second. And Joe Burrow was hurt last year. Ruined the Bengals season. Although Jake Browning had some nice moments. You got Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP. Came up short again in the playoffs, but he's going to be there in the regular season. Josh Allen, We'll see what the Bills do. This seems like a make or break year for Doug McDermott and co. We've been saying that the last couple of years, though. Mentioned Burrow, by the way. That team in Miami is still pretty good. Tua, I don't think much of, but that offense is explosive. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So even you got to get a tier above Tua. Can you do that if you're some of these teams? Did the Steelers do that with Russell Wilson? I don't think so. He's a little bit better than Kenny Pickett. Which is kind of crazy to say about Russell Wilson because as a Seahawk, he was a Hall of Fame type of quarterback. To see how far he has fallen off is wild. And I say all this to say, in regards to Justin Fields' market, like, if I'm an AFC team, why would I take a chance on him? So I start looking at the NFC. If I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I don't know if they'll do that trade in division. If I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I'm interested, although you got to start throwing the ball downfield. They can't just be a running team out in Atlanta. And Justin Fields, there's just some, for whatever reason, whether it was the offensive coordinator or not, throwing the ball downfield and being consistent with it seems like the biggest question mark. Not saying he can't throw it. He's got a huge arm. Got a cannon. They just got to be consistent with it. You got weapons down there in a hot Atlanta. Love me some Drake London. Fight on. Kyle Pitts, he's been kind of underwhelming. Probably why we're not going to see Brock Bowers get taken in the top 10 this year. I expect him to fall down a little bit. Tight end out of Georgia. One of the most highly rated tight ends to come out of the college and probably since Kyle Pitts. But he was taken in the top 5 and that has not worked out. Not even close, to be honest. And again, it comes back to the 49ers too. What are they going to do? I mentioned George Kittle potentially being a guy that I would consider moving off of and going younger at. You know, these guys are getting older. Windows start to close. You have to revamp and retool for the future. And I get it. George Kittle, he's probably not going to go anywhere, but would I be shocked at 30 years old at the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch decided to move off? He's going to be 31 by the time this next season starts. No, I would not be shocked. Just like I wouldn't be shocked if they cut ties with Kyle Juszczyk, and they already did with Eric Armstead. So 888-957-9570. What are some bold moves that you think the 49ers could potentially do? Whether that's cutting, whether that's trading for someone. What say you? 888-957-9570. We can discuss that. On the other side, we can talk more Warriors as they take on the San Antonio Spurs tonight. Coverage of that starts at 4 o'clock with Warriors Live before handing it over to the great Tim Roy, voice of the Golden State Warriors, at 5 o'clock, which is tip-off. But more pregame show coming up next with Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
Our world is constantly changing, and every day, Stanford Medicine advances our understanding. Our world-class School of Medicine and adult and children's health systems work together, expanding what we know and sharing what we discover to make breakthroughs both possible and accessible. Stanford Medicine, advancing knowledge, improving lives. StanfordMedicine.org.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
We could try to explain what it feels like to get your work done on a John Deere. The way a Z-Track mower finishes in half the time you thought it would. Or how much easier it is to move mountains of soil with the 1 Series tractor. We could even go into detail about how it feels to tow up to 4,000 pounds behind a Gator XUV. But if you really want to know what it's like to run with us, you just have to get in the seat. Learn more at johndeere.com/get-in-the-seat or visit a dealer near you.
At the Golf Mart by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the all-new Vokey SM10 wedges. Made for lower flight, improved feel, and maximum spin. Unlock your ultimate wedge. Play with the new Vokey SM10 wedges. Visit us in store at the Golf Mart or online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Hey drivers, it's Ryan Blaney, your 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion and driver of the number 12 America's Tire Ford Mustang. Do you know one of the most important things that helps keep my car going on the track? Tire pressure. Keeping your tires properly inflated is crucial for safe stopping power and better gas mileage. Check your tire pressure at least once a month or stop by a local tire retailer for an air check.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
In 1848, James Marshall discovered gold at Sutter's Mill. And in 3 years, a multicultural migration grew a sleepy trading post of 800 to a city of over 250,000. These were the first dreamers, innovators, builders, and inventors that defined San Francisco. The San Francisco Historical Society exists to uncover, preserve, and present in engaging ways the colorful and diverse history of our city from its earliest days to the present. As a member, you'll receive the Argonaut, an award-winning publication that has provided in-depth historical accounts for over 30 years. And the Panorama, a quarterly newsletter covering ongoing activities and historical presentations. Go to sfhistory.org and discover the San Francisco Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
Dub Nation, this is Tim Roy, and you're listening to the Pregame Show on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Pre-game show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 Game. My friend Tim Roy right there on the region. Tim Roy on the call tonight. Warriors Spurs, 5 o'clock right here on 95.7 The Game, your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. We're talking a little about Warriors Spurs. Stephen Curry, what's going to happen with his ankle? Hopefully he doesn't miss any much more time. Warriors losing at the wrong time. I mean, any loss right now feels like losing at the wrong time because you only got, 20 games left? But especially so when the teams around you in the standings are winning. And right now, as we pull up the Western Conference, you got the 10, 9, 8, 7 as follows. Warriors, Lakers, Mavericks, Kings. All of them separated by 3 games. Warriors at 33-30. Then you got the Lakers at 36-30. Lakers with a couple of massive wins after a very disappointing loss to the Sacramento Kings last week. No LeBron on Friday night against Milwaukee at home. D'Angelo Russell goes nuclear. They get the win there. And then they get a win against a shorthanded Minnesota Timberwolves team yesterday. No Karl Anthony Towns, obviously going to be getting some surgery on that torn meniscus. And no Rudy Gobert, who was dealing with a hamstring injury, I believe. So no Rudy Gobert, no Karl Anthony Towns. So that means a Lakers win. As we look at the Western Conference now the Timberwolves fall down to the third spot. You got the Thunder, I should say, as the top seed in the Western Conference. Then you got the Nuggets just a game back. Clippers at the fourth. Pelicans at the fifth. Suns at that crucial sixth spot. They're a half game over the Sacramento Kings. They're clinging to that. Tied in the loss column, but the Suns have one more win than Sacramento. 27 losses apiece there. Then the Mavericks at 36-28. And again, Lakers 36-30. Warriors 33-30. So they need these wins, man. Badly. Badly. You do not want to be in that 10th spot. As much as I think the Warriors in a one-off could beat the Lakers, and I wouldn't be too worried about it. I know some Warriors fans would disagree. You don't want to play. Don't want to be in that game. I get it. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they've given you fits in the past. They knocked you out of the playoffs last year. I get it. Having said all of that, if you would just get into that 7th and 8th seed, just get into one of those, I'll take my chances. I will take my chances in the 7th or 8th spot, getting 2 play-in games as opposed to 1. And you know what? Just take your chances there. Because if you keep losing these games and Stephen Curry's going to be out, it doesn't even matter anyways. You're not going to get that 6th spot. All right? Which just, that's why it feels like such an opportunity lost. Wembanyama was out. I know Steph was out. But God, you've got to think your bench unit and your depth is better than San Antonio's, right? Right? Oh, wrong. Shame on me for thinking that. I mean, guys stepped up for San Antonio. They're a team tanking, but you know what? Don't tell Dominic Barlow. Don't tell Keldon Johnson, who had 19 points and 22 respectively. Don't tell that to those guys. Don't tell that to the Malachi Branham, Zach Collins of the world. Come on. So I'm looking at a bounce back from Brandon Pajemski tonight. I need more offensively from Draymond Green. I need more from Chris Paul. I need more from everyone. Andrew Wiggins, I'm circling out here. Will he get the start tonight? We'll see. That was very underwhelming. For a guy who was out just a week, coming off the bench now, it just... You throw your hands up sometimes when you're talking about Andrew Wiggins. And I'm not crushing the absence or anything like that. It was personal. He had to deal with it. It was a very serious health situation regarding his family, and we respected that. I am solely going on the court. And on the court, he has been, as I've said all year long, consistently inconsistent. He will have a great game, followed by mediocre to bad. And multiple of those in a given week. It's just, you throw your hands up sometimes because there's just no answers. But that's why others need to step up. Klay Thompson stepped up. It was in a loss, but you know what? 27 points, 8 of 16, 5 of 10 from beyond the arc. I will take that. He was, the only player positive plus minus? He was a +2. He showed up. Going to need more from everyone else. Again, the San Antonio Spurs are 14-50. They stink. I know the Warriors are 33-30, and there was no Stephen Curry. It's tough, but my God. Have some pride in your level of play. Steve Kerr, talking about his tough night defensively.
I like the way the game started. Sohan hit 2 threes, which you don't expect that, but I thought our defense was really good. That's why we started the way we did with that lineup. I wanted to have Draymond and Trace out there together. I think when we subbed, it was 9-9. Our defense was fine, but as the game went on, we had multiple breakdowns. They got to the rim at will. We gave up, 28 free throws and 17 threes. You got to stop something. And I thought they got anything they wanted all night. So it was a tough night for us defensively.
I like me some Jeremy Sohan, actually. Starter for the San Antonio Spurs, had 20 in the last matchup, 7 of 14, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc, along with 5 boards. So he stepped up. He did. Steve, on the growing pains with some of these young players.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing a lot of young guys. We started 2 of them, and this is all part of it. You have to go through multiple seasons to really understand the different games that are going to happen, the different styles, different emotional swings. There's all of that has to be experienced by young guys in order to develop and grow and understand how to win. So it's all part of it.
Speaking of the young guys, Jonathan Kuminga talking about not having Steph, but that can't be an excuse.
We got everybody coming off the bench, starting, anybody missing, everybody there. I feel like we have a great team to compete against anybody. And of course, we're going to feel Steph's absence, but there can't be a reason because Steph's not playing. That's why we're losing. Obviously, he comes in, he changed the game, but just us missing him don't mean we got to go out there and lose.
I love that. I love that mindset from a young player and a potential future leader of this team in Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, he got hot late. I'll give him credit, 26 points, the box rose, but he needs to come out firing. Aggressive basketball early. Enforce your will on this team. Now, Victor Wembanyama is going to be back, so that might be a little tougher. You know what? They were losing with Victor Wembanyama. We're 14-50. All right? So that means they were 13-50 with him. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure he was missing some of those ones as well. But just because you don't have Steph doesn't mean you can't have effort. Like, that was the thing. Just give me better effort all around on the defensive end. You will get cooked in this league. I don't care if it's the Spurs, the Pistons, the Wizards. You will get cooked. These guys are getting paid to score. And it's been the greatest era of scoring in the history of basketball is right now. Right now. Now, that's partly because of the rules in place and what have you, but it's a conversation for another day. Just got to get better effort. Here's more from Steve Kerr talking about no Stephen Curry equals no Curry gravity.
We've been starting the way we have over the last 6 weeks because of the impact that Steph has for JK, getting downhill, and Wiggs, same thing. So without him, there aren't as many driving lanes for sure. So it's different, and that's why I didn't just plug Chris in for Steph and keep the same starting lineup. I felt like we needed to do something different. So my main motivation for the starting lineup was to get off to a great defensive start. I wanted to set a tone with a really good defensive lineup, see how we could score. It was a little bit of a struggle to score first 5 minutes. I think, as I said, it was 9-9. But I liked the defense. I wanted that tone set, but we couldn't maintain it.
Will they be able to maintain it tonight? It's going to be the question as they have their hands full with the greatest prospect since LeBron James, Victor Wembanyama. I dubbed him the French Phenom. Yeah, I said that first on these airwaves. Check the tapes. Where's my guy Ernie Chavez? We'll check the tape on you. The French Phenom. Victor Wembanyama expected to play tonight. 888-957-9570. Got a couple minutes here before I hand it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. They're fired up. I missed Friday's show. We went down Monterey, hang out with my mother-in-law. Obviously, just wanted that one extra day. Just a couple weeks since the passing of my father-in-law, Bob Ingersoll. So went back to Monterey, just, hang out, relax, take an extra day there. It was a tough week last week, getting adjusted to everyday life again. The missus obviously dealing with it the most, losing her father. And it's a tough adjustment for anyone. That first week getting back and just expect the normalcy and the realization that kind of life goes on. And not to say no one cares, because people care around you, but everyone else, they're going about their business. It's business as usual everywhere else when you get to work. You know, I know it seems cruel, but life goes on and there's some beauty in it and some sadness in it, but time heals all wounds, you know? And there'll always be a scar, if you will. And that scar might get opened from time to time when you have a memory, you smell something that, you know, you shared an experience, or you see something that you shared an experience with and you remember that, you get sad and then you get a little happy. So all those people, I say all that to say all those people dealing with some sort of grief, some sort of sadness, and only time can heal that wound. It'll get better. Day by day, slowly but surely, if you just keep trucking, you keep moving forward, it will get better. And if you need help, go seek it. I urge you to do that. I mean, all you people listening to this show, you damn sure need help. I love you guys. I also love the Morning Roast with Joe Shasky and Bonta Hill, and that's up next on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube.